Shalom, brothers and sisters, and Bibleaholics everywhere. Welcome. Tonight is our Extra-canonical Bible study, and we will be studying Jubilees, starting in chapter 16, going to 17, and then 18. Okay? So if you've got one of these books that has got the Dead Sea Scrolls in it, go ahead and grab it, and we'll get it flipped over to Jubilees, chapter 16, and we'll get going tonight. Okay? Hope everybody had a great Shabbat. Hope everything's going well for everyone. Getting ready to start the week. Yeehaw. Alright, gang. Everybody comfy? Got something to drink? Let's get started then. Jubilees, the Book of Jubilees, chapter 16. On the new moon of the 4th month, we appeared to Abraham at the oak of Mamre, and we talked with him, and we announced to him that Sarah, his wife, would give him a son. And Sarah laughed, for she heard that we had spoken these words to Abraham. We warned her. She became afraid and denied that she had laughed because of the words. We told her the name of her son, and his name is ordained and written in the heavenly tablets, and it is Isaac. We told her that when we returned to her at a set time, she would have conceived a son. In this month, the Elohim executed his judgments on Sodom and Gomorrah and Zeboim and all the region of the Jordan, and he burned them with fire and brimstone and destroyed them, and they are destroyed until this day. Because of all their works, they are wicked and vast sinners, and they defiled themselves and committed fornication in their flesh, and work uncleanness on the earth, as I have told you. In like manner, Yahweh will execute judgment on the places where they have done similar to the uncleanness of the Sodomites, and they will suffer a judgment like that of Sodom. Okay, we've talked about this before. How, in my little brain, I have deduced that the forbidden fruit in the garden was sodomy. That the bastard, Satan, had sodomized both Adam and Eve, and every single society after that has committed these atrocities, these abominations, homosexuality, fornication, nastiness, they have been destroyed. And right here, here's a witness to that, okay? This is saying exactly what I've been saying. Exactly. In a like manner, God will execute. In a like manner, Yahweh will execute judgment on the places where they have done similar to the uncleanness of the Sodomites, and they will suffer a judgment like that of Sodom. Okay? So here's a witness right here that's telling us the same thing's going to happen, and it has happened all through the ages. Greece, Rome, Pompeii. Yeah. Just wait. Just wait. The United States is getting ready to go through that because we're nasty, disgusting, and these sodomites are an abomination, trying to steal Yah's rainbow. The whole thing's a mess. Alright, well, enough of that. Let's get on. Verse 7. But for Lot, we made an exception, for Yahweh remembered Abraham and sent him out from the place of the overthrow, and he and his daughters committed sin on the earth, such as not been on the earth since the days of Adam until his time, for the man had sex with his daughters. See, there again, sexual, they're just disgusting abominations, sins of the flesh. Because if we remember, after Lot and his daughters escaped Sodom and Gomorrah, they went up into the mountains, and his daughters got him drunk and slept with him and got pregnant. And it's just, really? Here again. And their sons are cursed because of it. Okay. Verse 9. It was commanded and engraved concerning all his offspring on the heavenly tablets, to remove them and root them out, and to execute judgment on them, like the judgment of Sodom, and to leave no offspring of that man on the earth on the day of condemnation. In this month Abraham moved from Hebron, and departed and lived between Kadesh and Shur in the mountains of Gerar. In the middle of the 5th month he moved from that place, and lived at the well of the oath. In the middle of the 6th month the Elohim visited Sarah, and did to her as he had spoken, and she conceived. And she gave birth to a son in the 3rd month, in the middle of the month, at the time of which the Elohim had spoken to Abraham. On the festival of firstfruits of the harvest, Isaac was born. So that's interesting that Isaac was born during firstfruits, which is right after Pesach. See how Yahweh uses that day over and over and over. Abraham circumcised his son on the 8th day. He was the first that was circumcised according to the covenant, that is, ordained forever. In the 6th year of the 4th week, we came to Abraham at the well of the oath, as we appeared to him. We returned in the 7th month, and found Sarah with child before us, and we blessed him, and we announced to him all the things that had been decreed concerning him, so that he should not die until he should beget 6 more sons, and saw them before he died. But in Isaac should his name and offspring be called, and that all the offspring of his sons should be Gentiles, and be counted with the Gentiles. But from the sons of Isaac one should become a holy offspring, and should not be counted among the Gentiles. For he should become the portion of the Most High, and all his offspring had fallen into the possession of Yahweh, that they should be to the Elohim a people of his possession above all nations, and that they should become a kingdom and priests and a holy nation. We went our way, and we announced to Sarah all that we had told him, and they both rejoiced with a very great joy. He built there an altar to the Elohim, whom had delivered him, and who was causing him to rejoice in the land of his sojourning. And he celebrated a festival of joy in this month for 7 days, near the altar which he had built at the well of the oath. He built tents for himself and for his servants on this festival, and he was the first to celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles on the earth, Shavuot. During these 7 days he brought a burnt offering to the Elohim each day to the altar, consisting of 2 oxen, 2 rams, 7 sheep, 1 male goat for a sin offering, that he might atone thereby for himself and for his offspring. As an offering of thanks he brought 7 rams, 7 kids, 7 sheep, and 7 male goats, and their fruit offerings, and their drink offerings. And he burnt all the fat of it on the altar, a chosen offering to the Elohim for a sweet-smelling odor. Excuse me. Morning and evening he burnt fragrant substances, frankincense, and incense, and sweet spice, and nard, and myrrh, and spice, and aromatic plants. All these 7 he offered, crushed, mixed together in equal parts and pure. And he celebrated this feast during 7 days, rejoicing with all his heart and with all his soul, he and all those who were in his house. And there was no stranger with him, nor any that was uncircumcised. He blessed his Elohim, who had created him in his generation, for he had created him according to his good pleasure. Yahweh knew and perceived that from him would arise the plant of righteousness for the eternal generations, and from him a holy offspring, so that it should become like him who had made all things. He blessed and rejoiced, and he called the name of this festival the festival of the Elohim, a joy acceptable to the Most High, Yahweh. And we blessed him forever, and all his offspring after him throughout all the generations of the earth, because he celebrated this festival in its season according to the testimony of the heavenly tablets. For this reason it is ordained on the heavenly tablets concerning Israel, that they shall celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles 7 days with joy, in the 7th month, acceptable before the Elohim, as a statute forever throughout their generations every year. To this there is no limit of days, for it is ordained forever regarding Israel, that they should celebrate it, and dwell in tents, and set wreaths on their heads, and take leafy boughs and willows from the brook. Abraham took branches of palm trees, and the fruit of good and pleasant trees, and every day going round the altar with the branches 7 times a day, in the morning he praised and gave thanks to his Elohim for all things in joy. Chapter 17. In the 1st year of the 5th week, Isaac was weaned in this Jubilee, and Abraham made a great banquet in the 3rd month, on the day his son Isaac was weaned. Ishmael, the son of Hagar, the Mitzrayim, was in front of Abraham, his father, in his place, and Abraham rejoiced and blessed Elohim, because he had seen his sons, and had not died childless. He remembered the words which he had spoken to him on the day that Lot had departed from him, and he rejoiced, because the Elohim had given him offspring on the earth to inherit the earth, and he blessed with all his mouth the Creator of all things. Sarah saw Ishmael playing and dancing, and Abraham rejoicing with great joy, and she became jealous of Ishmael, and said to Abraham, "Throw out this bondwoman and her son. This is the bondwoman will not be heir with my son Isaac." And the situation was troubling to Abraham, because of his maidservant, and because of his son, because he did not want to drive them from him. Yahweh said to Abraham, "Let it not be troubling in your sight, because of the child, and because of the bondwoman. Listen to Sarah, and to all her words, and do them. For in Isaac shall your name and offspring be called. But as for the son of this bondwoman, I will make him a great nation, because he is of your offspring." Abraham got up early in the morning, and took bread and a bottle of water, and placed them on the shoulders of Hagar and the child, and sent them away. And she departed, and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba, and the water in the bottle was spent, and the child was thirsty, and was not able to go on, and fell down. His mother took him, and laid him under an olive tree, and went and sat her down over away from him at the distance of a bow shot. For she said, "Let me not see the death of my child." And she sat and wept. An angel of Yahweh, one of the holy ones, said to her, "Why do you weep, Hagar? Stand, take the child, and hold him in your hand, for Yahweh has heard your voice, and has seen the child." She opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water, and she went and filled her bottle with water, and she gave her child to drink, and she arose, and went toward the wilderness of Paran. And the child grew, and became an archer, and Yahweh was with him, and his mother took him a wife from among the daughters of Mitzrayim. She, the wife, gave birth to a son, and he called his name Nebaioth, for she said, the Elohim was close to me when I called on him. In the 7th week, in the 1st year of it, in the 1st month in this Jubilee, on the 12th of this month, there were voices in heaven regarding Abraham, that he was faithful in all that he told him, and that he loved the Elohim, and that in every affliction he was faithful. Prince Mastema, the bastard, came and said before Yahweh, look, Abraham loves Isaac his son, and he delights in him above all things. Tell him to offer him as a burnt offering on the altar, and you will see if he will do this command, and you will know if he is faithful in every way that you test him. Nice. The Elohim knew that Abraham was faithful throughout all his afflictions, for he had tried him through his country and with famine, and had tried him with the wealth of kings, and had tried him again through his wife, when she was torn from him, and with circumcision, and had tried him through Ishmael and Hagar, his maidservant, when he sent them away. In everything that he had tried him, he was found faithful, and his soul was not impatient, and he was not slow to act, because he was faithful, and a lover of the Elohim. Chapter 18. Yahweh said to him, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, look, here am I. He said, take your beloved son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the high country, and offer him on one of the mountains which I will point to you. He got early in the morning and saddled his donkey, and took 2 young men with him, and Isaac his son, and split the wood of the burnt offering. And he went to the place on the 3rd day, and he saw the place afar off. He came to a well of water near Mount Moriah, and he said to his young man, you stay here with the donkey, and I and the lad shall go yonder, and when we have worshipped we shall come back to you. He took the wood of the burnt offering, and laid it on Isaac his son, and he took the fire and the knife, and they went both of them together to that place. Isaac said to his father, Father, and he said, here am I, my son. And he said to him, look, we have the fire, and the knife, and the wood, but where is the sheep for the burnt offering, father? He said, Yahweh will provide for himself a sheep for a burnt offering, my son. And he neared the place of the mountain of Yahweh. He built an altar, and he placed the wood on the altar, and bound Isaac his son, and placed him on the wood that was on the altar, and stretched out his hand to take the knife to kill Isaac his son. I stood in the presence of him, and before Prince Mastema, the bastard. And the holy angels stood and wept over the altar, as Prince Mastema and his angels rejoiced, and said, Isaac will be destroyed, and we will see if Abraham is faithful. And the Elohim said, command him not to lay his hand on the lad, nor to do anything to him, for I have shown that he fears the Elohim. I called to him from heaven, and said to him, Abraham, Abraham. And he was terrified, and said, here am I. I said to him, lay not your hand on the lad, neither do anything to him, for now I have shown that you fear the Elohim, and have not withheld your son, your firstborn son, from me. Prince Mastema, the bastard, was put to shame, and was bound by the angels. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and saw a ram caught by its horns. And Abraham went and took the ram, and offered it as a burnt offering in place of his son. Abraham called that place, the Elohim has seen, so that it is said that the Elohim has seen. This is Mount Zion. The Elohim called Abraham by his name a second time from heaven, as he caused us to appear to speak to him in the name of the Elohim. He said, "By myself I have sworn," said the Elohim, "because you have done this thing, and have not withheld your son, your beloved son, from me, that in blessing I will bless you, and in multiplying I will multiply your offspring as the stars of the heaven, and as the sand which is on the seashore. Your offspring shall inherit the cities of its enemies, and in your offspring shall all nations of the earth be blessed, because you have obeyed my voice, and I have shown to all that you are faithful to me in all that I have said to you. Go in peace." Abraham went back to his young men, and they stood and went back together to Beersheba, and Abraham lived by the well of the oath. And he celebrated this festival every year, 7 days with joy, and he called it the festival of the Elohim, according to the 7 days during which he went and returned in peace. Accordingly, it has been ordained and written on the heavenly tablets regarding Israel and its children, that they should observe this festival 7 days with joy of festival. And that's the end of chapter 18. All right. Well, we see how the bastard was trying to manipulate Yahweh to get him to try to kill Isaac, and Yahweh turned his evil into good, and ended up Abraham did what he was told and was stopped at the last minute and was supplied by Yahweh with a burnt offering so that he didn't have to kill Isaac. Yeah, you can see how the bastard tries to manipulate everyone, including the Elohim. What a piece of work. Jeez. But Abraham had faith. Faith. He had faith that Yahweh was going to cover his six. Going to watch his back. So, because of his faith, he was blessed as righteous. It's all about faith, gang. It's all about faith. Have faith in your Elohim. Have faith in Messiah. Well, I think that's it for tonight. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope you're getting something out of this study. And, well, I guess we'll see you on our midweek Bible study. Okay? All right. Y'all have a good night. Shalom.